Sony X90L full array local dimming LED at 65 inches releases late in the year. Can it compete with the competition? Most definitely.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me as we take a look at the Sony X90L. As Sony continues their strategy of quality over quantity, each and every release is very important, and today is no different with the X90L. However, the timing is odd, as the X90 series, the X90J, X90K are typically the very first TVs released, not just by Sony, but any other manufacturer. Releasing this late in the year with only one TV left behind it, which is the A95L Quantum.OLED releasing in September, it means the competition from other manufacturers offering mini LED versus full array local dimming at a much cheaper price means the competition is extremely fierce. Can Sony deliver with their signature processing, clarity, peak brightness? This is their signature. This is their plan. Let's see how it does. We'll do a quick unboxing, go through some of the features, show you some demo material and gameplay. We have lots of videos coming with the X90L. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. Now, quickly going through the unboxing, I want to point out how well the X90 is packaged and secured. We talk about value and price that's higher than the competition. When you go value, a lot of times the packaging is sacrificed. You do not see that with the X90. The display is very well protected. We have a 55, 65, 75, and 85. There is the remote, batteries, and the screws if you want to mount it. The legs do not need to be screwed in or bolted. I'll show you those in a moment, but the packaging is very important as far as keeping the display safe. It does not move within its packaging. And again, I've unboxed a lot of TVs this year, and that does vary. The lower cost, this is one of the places that you will sacrifice. Sony does not do that. The legs are labeled. See how well it's packaged. Looking quickly at the back, you have the honeycomb on the X series now that the step up X93 and X95 share. This used to be almost just a Master Series feature. You look at the back and the HDMI ports, 2 HDMI 2.1, 4 HDMIs in total. The build quality is definitely better. And you can see there where the legs go in. Now the UK version I have seen pictures of where you have the inside and the outside. They are labeled. I'd like to see both inside and outside, because even filming this, I couldn't film it where other TVs were filmed simply because it needed to be on a table that was very wide. 65 inches. The legs are pretty far out there. They do sit flush here. I'll show you the different positions in a moment as we look back at the HDMIs. Now, in order to change the feet, simply unbolt. That is the flush position, and then extend it. I will show you both of them. The one that is able to put the TV up a bit higher is to make room for a sound bar. You can see the space underneath. I am leaving the cover on, obviously, because the TV then goes down on its face to change the legs. That's why you see the packaging still on it. But look how well it's packaged. Moving now, we are in the other position where it is lower and more flush. I do like this one better, but if you are putting a soundbar beneath it, it makes sense. See how much lower profile it is. So you have the bag over this, you have the cardboard, and you have a ton of plastic. Putting that back up there to show you. So at least you can be confident that it's going to be protected when it's being shipped to you, which affects everything from the chassis, DSC. Things do happen with these TVs when they move around. You have a semi-gloss, not quite all the way glossy, but a semi-gloss and not matte. But look at all the plastic that's on there. TV's assembled. This is how it looks all around. It does have a nice look. The X90 has become a little more premium looking than it has in the past. It is still full array. It is not mini LED. And it definitely feels more premium than it did a few years ago. Not very thin. You have the silver bezel, which I do like. At this price point, though I do prefer black, it can look very cheap if not for the silver bezel. So I do appreciate the design. The feet are also gray. They do stand out, which you'll see throughout the video. I do like the overall bezel from the front as well. Nice design. Quickly going into the remote. Small, very minimal, not backlit. As I compare it to the A80J remote from just a few years ago, it is much smaller now. I actually prefer the larger, long remote. Now as we power it on, we're going to skip over all the Google stuff that's been the same for many, many years and show you the picture quality in a fairly bright room. Right out of the box, it pops off the screen. I'll show you what it's shipped in. Standard is the preset that all Sonys do ship in. I'll show you those settings in a moment. But for those of you that don't calibrate your TVs or change presets, with Sony's image quality out of the box, you'll be very happy. It does have a very saturated look on camera. It does pop. It's very vibrant. The X90 is very bright. You're going to hear processing and clarity, color throughout this video. It's what they're known for, and it's not market speak. Especially this year, it has definitely been a big jump with every one of the TVs from them I've seen. That's the X93, X95, A80L. The fine detail they do better than anyone else in the industry. And I personally feel everyone caught up last year. They've now moved forward this year. But again, Sony's theory, or I shouldn't say theory, their plan is quality over quantity. Less models, more focus, which I like but don't like. I wish they had more variety in sizes, more availability. And then their release dates again have been, this X90 is coming out later in the year, competing with TVs that have already been out for a while. It's going to be hard for it, which is a shame because it is excellent. This will be a longer video, guys, as Sony hasn't released many TVs this year. I did want to show you the unboxing as we go into the settings of standard out of the box. These are the out-of-the-box presets. When you take it home, I will alter them as we go through the video, but you can expect to unbox it, turn it on. This is what it will ship in. Power saving, things of that nature are disabled in the Google setup or the TV setup initially. So you have to worry about those here, light sensor, things like that. But standard does ship with advanced contrast enhancer, things like that enabled. It's your TV. How you set it is how you set it. Throughout the video, you're going to see custom, cinema. You'll see dynamic, or not dynamic, I'm sorry, vivid. You're going to see standard. I don't believe in adhering only to that filmmaker type mode or the custom type mode, which is the most accurate one for Sony. My goal is to show you flexibility of image. You're going to see that and hear that throughout the video. How different can you make it look? As we move into standard. Oh, this isn't standard actually. This is SDR is what I meant to say. But we are in custom here, so we're in its most accurate preset. And here I will show you flexibility of image, even in SDR, how you can make the image go from custom, IMAX enhanced, cinema, standard, even its most vivid mode. What you're going to see from Sony this year, especially with the processing, is even if you push these more poppy, higher brightness modes, you will not have much noise. Regardless of the content, that is how good the XR Clear upscaling is. That's how good the processing is. You can flex reality creation, not just in gaming, but in films, and not pay the price. Years ago, if you tried to enable some of these presets, it would really be a noisy analog, anti-aliasing or aliased image, I should say. Here you can flex those settings if you want to keep them, and the processor keeps up, does an amazing job. The colors really pop. What I did is move back to custom and then juice them up a little bit so you can have your accuracy as well as your vibrancy and your saturation. Now, we often get a lot of questions with LEDs as far as Starfield, the competition. Most popular competition a lot of times will crush the stars. We will show you here on this Starfield how the stars are more visible than almost any other LED I've seen this year, including the X93 and the X95. The X90 has much less dimming zones. I believe it has 80. It's full array, not mini LED. The X95 has better blooming control, but it does darken the image a bit. Same with the X93. X90 not having that. The brightness kind of runs free. As we move through the presets, I want you to see that even as we get brighter with the top presets, the more dynamic, vivid, and standard, the blooming doesn't really increase. The stars are all there. Quickly, special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zone of Value Electronics for supplying the X90L for extended review. Please consider making your next AV purchase. Let them know that Brian from Brian's Tech Therapy sent you. Check the description below for all their information, and also ask them about package deals with the Sony and soundbars or the HTA9 system. Thank you to Robert and to Wendy and Value Electronics. Now, this is a very hard demo as it can look very saturated in some spots as well as being very accurate. This next scene with the green is just the way the green is in any demo. Now, we're also in a brightly lit room behind me. So you're going to see when this transition happens, you'll see a bit of the reflection. That's not blooming, but this transition is very hard here. You can see where the blacks are slightly elevated. When the champagne cork pops, that highlight you see is my room, but the blooming is pretty limited. The key is that it doesn't dim the image that you'll see from, say, Samsung. Shadow detail is key for Sony. It's what they most care about. However, the X90 is very good as far as its blooming control, considering the lack of zone count. The algorithm, the processing really makes the difference. We get too caught up on how many zones are here. I do that as well. I want to hear thousands of zones. As we look at our good friend Jennifer Gala, special shout out to Jennifer Gala and her second channel, HCR Super Channel. Check the description below for all of her amazing content and like and subscribe to her channel. The reason I like this demo from Jen, a lot of her demos are in this video, is the aspect ratio, the black bars. Dead on, even with the menu up, we look great. So again, forget about the zone count, it's the algorithm. Moving off angle, not too far off angle, and you can see that they do turn purple. That is to be expected. And we'll talk about this quickly with LEDs. Guys, if you are loving OLED and what OLED brings as far as infinite contrast, there isn't an LED on the planet that's going to change your mind. What I like about the Sony is not dimming the image to compensate for blooming, not crushing the shadow detail. Moving into this demo, it looks exquisite. Now you can see that the blacks are slightly lit. They don't go around an image. They raise a little bit, which is better than just blooming and leaving haloing, which I prefer. And in real content, real movies, it behaves amazing. Incredible in regards to processing, as I mentioned, the zone count, which you're going to hear a lot in the comments. But this is where Sony is asking you to trust their processing and the algorithm in regards to local dimming. Moving into a vivid preset here to show you how bright it gets. Not everybody wants to stay in custom and cinema. I do want to show everybody the flexibility of image. Now, Sony always hanging its hat on accuracy and filmmakers' intent. What I love about what they're doing in the other presets is you can honestly take this TV and make it look as saturated and poppy as you like. You don't have to adhere to the filmmakers' their decisions. Even though Sony does go with that, they're giving you the flexibility to change the image. Very important. Years ago, it would look very accurate and there wasn't much you can do. Now you can really change the image to however you like. Now, as far as the pricing, I don't put the prices up as they do change, but at 55 inches, we're $11.99, 65 inch, $13.99, 75 inches, $19.99, and the 85 inches, $27.99. Also, very peculiar pricing, as I want to show you the local dimming here quickly, is while the X90 is more expensive than the competition from, say, TCL and Hisense, its pricing is very bunched together, where the 55 and 65 are only a couple $100 apart. The 85 is much more expensive, but not crazy expensive. So it's fair pricing. Where it's going to get tough for them is in the 55 and 65. And they're close together in terms of their own sizes. And again, they did release late in the year. More demo material from Jen. The reason you're seeing demo material throughout this video is due to copyright. I'm not going to risk showing movies even paused. I can get my point across without it, especially using the aspect ratio of Jen's material. Very beautiful, very colorful. You've been watching it in a dark room, a bright room, well-lit room. Back to a well-lit room here. Excellent reflection handling. The detail in the fur is some of the best I've seen this year. And getting that pure white is really pretty amazing. Now quickly, I want to jump into upscaling here. We're going to start at 480 all the way up to 4K. You're going to see the screen flash and change. So being at 4K, we'll drop back down to 480. I want you to be able to see the change. We'll go through it in real time. I tried to edit it differently and you couldn't see it in real time. So this part of the video is going to be a little bit longer, but a lot of you guys have questions about upscaling, and their XR Clear is next level. Not just market speak, I promise you. So we're moving up to 720p. We're starting at 480. We're very close to the screen as well. Now jumping up to 1080p. Now 480p looked muddy, but still not bad. You lost the detail and obviously HDR. 720p looked cleaner. 1080p looked almost as good as 4K. Most of you will be watching, as we move into 4K, you'll be watching more 1080p, maybe 720p due to your cable box or say YouTube TV. You can see how good a job the X90 does upscaling. Now we're going to quickly move into gaming simply because I'm going to have separate gaming videos for the X90. Now when you ask yourself about gaming, it's not just about performance. That's where I think the misconception from the manufacturers to gamers is thinking we only want low input lag and performance. For me especially, picture quality is key. Sony luckily has a very good looking game mode. And why I say lucky, as you cannot change it much, which I'll show you soon. It is very quick, very responsive, very colorful, while remaining accurate at the same time. Street Fighter is a very vibrant game. We are going to move into Horizon Forbidden West. Gorgeous game, excellent HDR impact. We're going to bring up the game bar. Now, I think the welcome addition of the game bar is something Sony was very late to. I'm very happy to see it here. Going into the menu button, bring it up. Very happy that it's here, but it is very basic. The black adjust simply if you need to see opponents, which I don't know whoever really uses that. You have the crosshair. It gives you all the information. There is a VRR. You do have to enhance the HDMI as you had in the past. Much easier than it was a few years ago. Local dimming is still in place, which will show you as I go through the game mode preset. But compared to the competition from LG and Samsung that have multiple presets, multiple different ways to change the image, they need to do better. They need to catch up to that. I do appreciate it being here. I appreciate them updating the last year's models, but they need to really get better here. I'm glad it's here. Now, going through the presets, I want you to pay attention to the different. You are locked out. With VRR, you will be locked into game mode. Turn off VRR. You can wander if you like. Obviously, input lag is going to jump through the roof. You do have the option. As we go through game mode, you'll see certain things are going to be grayed out. That is to be expected. We're resetting it quickly. But as you see me change the different presets, pay attention to what doesn't change much. Dynamic tone mapping doesn't change a whole lot from off to gradation. Brightness does jump it. We'll leave it for gradation preferred here. Local dimming does make an impact. Local dimming was locked on TVs until only a few years ago. But even live color and some of these other different presets don't change the image as much as I would like. And advanced contrast enhancer, though a lot of people don't like that, it is useful in gaming to give you a bit more pop if you want it. Again, it depends on the game. I'm not interested in 100% accuracy in gaming, guys. The games can dictate that. You can have your preference. There is no right and wrong. I'll just say that quickly. To say this has to look that way, your TV, do what you like with it. I want that flexibility. I like live color in HDR. But the most impressive thing I've seen from Sony TVs this year in regards to processing in gaming is the ability to use reality creation. Now, reality creation has been around since 2016, I believe. I never used it simply because it would add way too much noise. Aliasing. Now with these processors, you can actually push it to max. I'm going to spend a little time here because a lot of you guys love this feature. Even on last year's Z9K being 8K, reality creation past a certain number value created too much noise. On these TVs, I saw it on the A80, X93, and X95, you can push it to max to clean up the image, to give you more detail, and not have noise. So if you do like this feature, this alone is worth this from last year for how the processor handles it. Now the XR Clear and the upscaling, I should have mentioned this before, is available on the X90, A80, A95, X95, but not the X93, which makes the X90 a great choice even over the step-up X93. X93 is brighter, does have better blooming control as it has more zones, but the X90 is significantly cheaper and has more sizes to choose from. There's also a 98-inch. I mean, it might even be a 100-inch. I don't have the pricing on that one, but we'll see that at Value Electronics in the next few weeks. Might be 10, maybe 10,000. That's a successor to the X92, which was a 100-inch actually. But going through the settings, I want to be able to show you that reality creation can be flexed and it can be used. But one thing I will say is that you better like the Sony game mode, which is very good, because you can't alter it much. That is my complaint. We need a more elaborate game bar, more presets, the flexibility of image that they have in their movie settings. They need that here. But But I do understand that to keep input lag down, things of that nature, it's important. And it's very responsive. I lower the camera a bit to show you what it really looks like, because it is a very bright TV. It does look very good. So in closing, excellent TV, very bright as we finish up our game portion. Only 2 HDMI 2.1 is a knock. Limited game bar, but it's here. Flexibility of image in gaming, I want to see better. Local dimming is very good. Algorithm is very good. Upscaling is excellent. Sound quality is good. It's very loud. That processing, that upscaling is most important. And again, the local dimming, even with the low zone count, excellent blacks. The black bars will be a slight issue if that's something you're hung up on. Blooming around small stars, things of that nature, it does a very good job, but it's not going to do as well as those with a lot more dimming zones. But what it does with the minimal dimming zones is amazing. Processing algorithm, clarity, color. It is a bit more expensive. It is releasing late in the year. Give it a little time, it'll drop in price. But if you like Sony, you like their signature, you like accuracy, you like great build quality, then it's an excellent buy. And something to consider, because there's not much in regards to Sony as far as sizes and choices. The X90L is highly recommended. It is a win. Very bright, beautiful, colorful. I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribe. Take care.